SMT Nation, welcome back to the channel. We've got a special edition of network testing here. And in this particular testing, we are doing it at the post office. And this particular post office is a very interesting setting. It's extremely residential. It's a very wooded area, lots of larger oak trees. There is a little bit of business right over here to the right of the screen. This would be, I guess, considered near downtown Berea. So it's very residential. There's also the Baldwin Wallace College campus around here. And if you'll notice, there's a small cell here, a little bit forward looking. I'll show you guys how that's going to impact the testing, as I did two sets of testing. I did testing inside this quadrant of the building. I was buying some stamps and taking in some stuff, paying some bills. And then I did some testing like right over here to the left in this little parking lot fieldish area. It was like 100 degrees this day of testing, and I did not want to be out in the middle under the sun. So I went and found a shady tree and I did some testing there. So we got two settings. I want to share the screenshots of the testing and how the networks did. So here's the PO boxes where people have, some of their PO boxes. I just did some testing here on the counter. So I just wanted to show you guys where I was. There was a window where I was testing. And let's start. Okay, so the first test, and actually I should mention this is in the afternoon, almost 2 o'clock in the PM. The first test is a T-Mobile test, and it is LTE. We got a 95 ping and a 626 millisecond jitter, which is not good. That is a very unresponsive or problematic connection. Having all that jitter will leave it very inconsistent. The ping time also not very great, so very slow in responsiveness. We got 17 megabits down, and we have 0.29 megabits up. Clearly, the signal seems a little bit weak. This is the iPhone 13 Pro, and in particular, this is the Magenta MAX, and this is the business version of that plan on Los Mobile Magenta. So this is LTE for you, and we can go ahead and check out the 5G next. But I would tell you this is probably like a 5 megahertz band 71, I think. I'm not sure if there's any mid-band connecting there. It might be. I'm not sure. Here's N71, the 600 megahertz low band extended range 5G, 5 megabits down, 3 megabits up. So if I'm comparing the two, the downlink is much less, but the uplink is better. But this could buffer high resolution video. And in terms of the uplink, it's probably enough to hold a video call, like FaceTime or something like that. But it's marginal. That's going to be close. The connection was better, 42 milliseconds, so the latency improved, and then 20 millisecond jitter, so that got better on this test. So the 5G, in my estimation, is a better connection compared to what the LTE was doing. But there's 15 megahertz of N71 in my market, so I don't know. That's what it was, and the 5G UC did not penetrate indoors. All right, moving on to AT&T. All right, the AT&T test. This is 5GE, so that's LTE. We got a 30 ping. We got a 3 millisecond jitter, so that's a very steady, consistent connection, very stable. The 189 downlink and then 27 uplink means it's very, very fast. So we've got plenty of downlink speed, and this is a Los Blue, so that's an enterprise, or I should say like business elite plan. So highest priority for both T-Mobile and AT&T. And you see you got plenty of capacity to do whatever you want to do. The downlink, awesome, tremendous. The uplink, very good at 27 megabits per second. Very good. You shouldn't have any issues with anything that you have to do. Moving on, that was the LTE. We switched it over to the 5G. This is a DSS test. This is N2. It's a shared channel between LTE and 5G. 50 megabits down, 15 megabits up, 40 millisecond ping, 1 jitter. So that's a fine connection too. So if you were in this area, and since they don't have 5G plus the C band N77, you might want to turn 5G off and just go with LTE. But otherwise, I mean, it's a fine connection. If you're in the post office and you're getting these speeds, you're doing very well, right? So no complaints. It tested pretty good. Again, no 5G plus. All right, moving on to the next test. This one is Verizon, and We got a 73 ping, which is a little too high for my liking, but we got a 5 millisecond jitter. So it's not the most responsive test, but at least it's stable. It's got a very, very low jitter. And then we've got a downlink speed of 104 and an uplink speed of 6. Plenty of downlink. That would be fine for whatever you have to do. The uplink is okay, right? It's good enough. You got 6 uplink, but it's not ideal. If that was to dip below that 6 mark, might you see some buffering or discontinuous playback? Or I should say, like on a video call, might you get buffering or some video cutting out or something? It might happen if it drops below that. So not the best situation, but I'm assuming based on my experience with Verizon, this would hold up okay. You should be fine. All right, so that's your LT. Now, I was not able to get a 5G test here because they didn't have the 5G ultra-wideband, and they may have DSS here, but because it's connected to a specific LTE channel, it's preferring it. And this is what I kind of wanted to allude to with that small cell in the beginning of the video. It's connecting to CBRS, band 48. And anytime that connection is available, if there's no 5G plus there, or excuse me, if there's no 5G ultra wideband, it's going to prefer the CBRS band 48 LTE over the DSS 5G, the low band 5G. So that's why, even though the 5G was on, it was only showing me LTE. It wouldn't let me default to 5G, low band 5G DSS. As a bonus, here's an LTE test from Verizon, Xfinity Mobile style. 124 down, 20, almost 21 on the up, 49 ping 4 jitter. So this is essentially Verizon postpaid, right? That's how Xfinity Mobile rolls. So just as a bonus, threw that in there. Thought you guys might like that. Here is the small cell for Verizon right outside the window. The thing about CBRS band 48 is lower power frequency because of DoD rules and interference and all this other stuff. The rules and guidelines governing this frequency, the power is very low. So this is the best you're going to do indoors from a small cell in most instances. But it's nice. It's probably helping a lot of the houses in the area and people outside. There's that big square here where there's all those businesses. There's a couple of bars. There's some restaurants, obviously residential, and then the school with a lot of people, hanging out outside and, maybe in some of those banquet halls that are in the area. This is probably pretty helpful. And you could see it was helping me a little bit even inside the post office. All right, now for the outdoor testing. Let's start first with AT&T. 71 down, 28 up. We got a 32 ping, and we have a 5 jitter. All right, so you're probably wondering, why is the 5G slower outside than it was inside? And I think what's happening here is I think locally within this area, and I'm guessing probably somewhere on the other side of the post office, so like opposite side of where I am, I think there is either a femto cell, a metro cell, or some kind of an AT&T access point that was serving like a small cell connection. And I don't know of any small cells in the area. There might be some, and I just didn't see it. Maybe it's on the other side of the building. But that's what I think is happening, because if you look, the downlink speed kind of sacrificed, unless there was some crazy, unforeseen surge of usage that just happened to hit the network when I ran this test. I'm thinking that could be a possibility. There's some kind of like a femto cell or metro cell, a micro cell that's somewhere in the area, and I was moving further away from it. And I don't know if the post office had anything in place or not. I'm not sure. But I definitely was not connected to any Wi-Fi on either of these tests. All right, so that's an interesting development there. But AT&T did really well in my testing here. And I'll show you guys. This is the 5G test, the DSS. And this is more similar to like what we saw, indoors and in the post office. All right, so that's N2. That's the DSS 5G, 44 ping, 11 millisecond jitter, 62 down, 14 up. All right, so AT&T did really well. I would say arguably AT&T was probably the best connection in this testing. All right, here's the T-Mobile test. Once we got outside, you could see that speeds and performance greatly improved, 70 down and 9 up. This is on LTE, and it's a 30 ping, and it's a 1 jitter. So if we look at the testing from indoors, it looks like that indoor propagation was the issue, because the downlink improved greatly, the uplink improved in a big way, and then you can even see that the ping and the jitter seem to stabilize. So it wasn't really like congestion we were seeing in the post office. It was just the signal quality was poor in the office. All right. So here is the 5G test. That's not good. All right. So 6.83 on the down, 11 megabits on the up, and you'll see a 47 ping and a 4 jitter. So they kind of switched, right? The indoor performance was better from 5G from T-Mobile and then the outdoor. So I'm not really sure. I'm guessing this just congestion possibly. It's got some traffic on it. Interesting development there. And as I waited and I moved to the other side of the parking lot, I didn't move much. I probably moved like 30 feet or something. I got this test right here at the other end of the lot. It actually picked up 5G UC, but it's very edge. All right, so 62 down and 10 up on the N41. 59 ping, 58 jitter. To me, that screams edge cell. It's just far from the site and it's not picking it up well. It's a weak signal, probably a noisy connection, but not very good. So take it as you may. Not great for a 5G UC connection, but still better than the other two options of low band 5G and the LTE. All right, so you got 61 down and you got 10 up. Both of these would be fine for everything you had to do. The other ones could be problematic under certain situations. This could do 4K video. This could do a video call just fine. The other connections would have been kind of touch and go. And lastly, for Verizon outside, 106 down, 44 up, 49 ping, 11 jitter. So the latency and the jitter are less than ideal, but you got plenty of downlink. You have plenty of uplink. So Verizon did really well. You guys can see that whatever the situation was with AT&T, it was very good. You can clearly see why Verizon performs well here in this scenario because of the small cell being very close, supporting the macro grid. And you could see why T-Mobile's approach to not doing small cells and trying to do a macro-based network, you could see where they struggle. We're clearly in an area where T-Mobile did not do well, and a small cell would be in order, and it would probably help a lot. And that small cell could have everything. You could do 5G UC, you could do the low band 5G, you could do LTE modernizations as well, and there you have it. You'd have yourself a good connection. So in this particular instance, and it's not always the case, a lot of times I do testing, T-Mobile's got great capacity. They struggled in the scenario and they could use a small cell. So anybody on the T-Mobile Cleveland engineering team, if you would like to improve connectivity for the fine folks of Berea, Ohio that live in and around the Baldwin Wallace campus and near the post office, please get them a small cell in this area. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for those considerations. What do you guys think of the testing? Who do you think did the best? Uh, did you see what maybe you expected? Is that what you thought would happen? I don't know. Sound off in the comment section below. You are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Like, share, subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the bell notifications so you never miss those uploads. You'll be the first to know when we drop videos. Links in the description for my Patreon page. Support us there and get early access to content and exclusive videos not found anywhere else. Also, my Twitter handle is linked below. All business inquiries can go to the Gmail address down in the description box. Thanks for watching. See you all in the next video. Peace.